Hello everybody, it's me, Nikki, and today I'm here with what I read in December. I didn't, I actually wanted to post this today? No, tomorrow, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I'm probably just gonna start it next week. I didn't mean to skip the last week of December, but it just happened. I forgot to upload a video. I've also forgotten where I put my notebook. I've misplaced it, so hopefully I can remember everything. But let's get started. The first book I read was Sight Witch by Susan Dennard, and this is a prequel to, what's the other one? Oh, fuck. It's right over here. Truth Witch. So, this is about Ryber, who is a Sight Witch sister, and basically they get called to their goddess, who's in a mountain, and then their eyes turn silver, and they can't really, I guess they can still see things, but then they can also, see the future or that kind of thing. And Ryber is, she's been at the monastery for quite a while, and she still hasn't been called. And then every day sisters are called. Like, one of her best friends is called, and then there's two called, and people don't usually get two, and then they're all called, even the older sisters, and it's just Ryber alone in this monastery for months, maybe. And then she finally is like, okay, right, I have to go find out what happened, even though she hasn't been called, and she's like afraid she's going to get killed as soon as she enters. And then she meets a young man named Cullen, and together they go through the mountain, because it is a mountain, and they find out what happened to her sisters. I really liked it. It's got this mixed, I guess it's mixed media, because it's got these little drawings right here with little descriptions of what they are. And then it's like, here's a diary of someone from the past. But it's also a Ryber's diary as well. So I thought it was very interesting. There were some things about the gods that I was sort of like, I don't know what that's about, but it also explains that. But it might even make more sense if you've read the other books first. But I would definitely read this. It's very good. I liked Ryber a lot as a main character. She was funny and courageous, but also like petrified to go against everything she was taught, because she's very rigid. Like, there's a reason for all the rules, and then she learns that sometimes the rules have to be broken. So yeah, I don't know. I think the guy might show up in other books, but I don't know if she does. I hope she does, because that will be fun to see. So yes, I think that's it. Like I said, I don't remember everything I wrote down. I wish I could find it. I've looked everywhere for my notebook, but alas. Next we have Grave Goods by Ariana Franklin. This is the third in the series, about, where's her name? Adelia Aguilar. I've talked about her before, I think. She's basically a coroner, but they call her the mistress of death because she cuts up dead bodies. But because she's a woman, she can't actually do it in England, so she has her friend, her bodyguard, Mansour, who's Arabic. He pretends to be the doctor, and then he speaks in Arabic, and she translates. Most of the time, he just talks like whatever gibberish is in Arabic. Like, he just says things, and she translates it. And it's set during Henry II. She has also, oh god, a woman, her friend come with her. What is her name? Takes care of her child. They come from the Fens. Where is it? Ugh. Glitha. And she's like the Norman type of sort, if that makes sense. And then there's also Rowley, who loves Adelia, and Adelia loves him, but there's like a whole thing because he's part of the church now, but they have a child together. A little girl. And so that's all going on, but this is about, this is true. Bodies were found during the reign of Henry II that people said were of Arthur and Guinevere. And Henry really wants to know if that's true or not. So he sends Adelia, because she not only like cuts open dead bodies, she's a coroner, a forensic anthropologist. She can tell if it's a male or a female. So they go to this Glastonbury Abbey to figure stuff out, and she's on the road with a young woman from book 2, and stuff happens to that woman, and stuff happens to Adelia, and then it ends, I believe, with what's going to happen in book 4, and it ends like on a creepy note. These are creepy books. Like I said, the first one ended with like a gut punch of what happened to the bad guy, and or like the whole thing was like a gut punch. So yeah, this was very good. What else? There's death, murder specifically, arson, attempted drowning, I remember that, and then Adelia, there's some cast of characters that are trying to prove a man's innocence. He's their friend, they're funny, and they meet up with some creepy people in the woods that are called Wolf and Scary? Might be Scary, and they dress, I'm pretty sure there must be mental issues involved, but obviously 1176, that's not talked about, but they dress like Wolf dresses like a wolf, and they eat people, so there's cannibalism, and I think that's it. But yes, if you like murder mysteries that are a bit creepy, check these out. Ugh. Next is Paladin of Souls by Lois McMaster Bujold. This is a semi-sequel to The Curse of Chalion because it takes it takes place in the same world. They all do, but it is about the Rowena's mother, Ista. She's the Dowager Rowena. And her daughter is now ruling Chalian with her husband and the main guy from the first book. And so it's about the Ista is basically like stuck in her castle. Like her mother has died, and the people around her won't. They keep thinking she's going to go back to the madness because they don't know how the madness started, which is explained in the book as well as in Curse of Chalian. So they keep thinking she's going to fall back into it, and they don't let her do anything. And so at some point she's like, I need to go on a pilgrimage. So she finds, what's his name? Because there's 5 gods. There's a father, mother, brother, sister, and bastard. The bastard is the mother's son, either by rape of a demon or she fell in love with the demon. They differ on that. But he takes in bastard children. The father has dogs and is for war. The mother, I can't remember her animal, but she does motherly things. And then I think the brother and sister also do war-y stuff. I can't quite remember. It's all explained in the Curse of Chalian and sort of in this one. And then the bastard takes in bastard children, but also like outcasts type of thing. Like he takes in anybody really, and his animal are rats, so people are like, eesh. And the bastard and all of his priests hunt demons. That's like his job because he's half a demon, basically. So Ista was first blessed by the mother, I want to say, and then the bastard shows up in this one. The father also shows up in this one near the end. It is an amazing scene where Ista like transfers the father's kiss from her forehead to this other guy's forehead, and then it's a fantastic scene. This whole book is amazing. So she gets a bastard priest, because she'd seen him earlier and he seemed fun. And then there are 2 brothers who are in the first book, and they come along because her brother, Ista's brother, is like, oh yeah, we'll send you like all these ladies and all these people, and she's like, no, I just want a small entourage. So it's her, the bastard priest, the brothers, and then a young woman who is going to be her maid, her handmaid, but the woman's main job was like as a horse rider, delivering messages, and she's a lot of fun, and Ista just loves her. And at the end, everything wraps up, because they're like standalone stories. These 2, you don't need to read them in order, or like you can read this and never read Curse of Chalian, it's fine. So at the end, like her entourage shows up, and there's this old woman who's just a pain. And she's like telling Lise to go away, and Lise plays dumb, and Ista just loves it. So they go on this pilgrimage, and then shit happens, and there's like a war happening and stuff, and she gets to this castle where there's more magic shit happening that she has to figure out and take care of, and she does it, and she's like, fuck. She's like, I just want to like not have my life touched by these gods, but they're all like, suck it. And the bastard specifically is like, no, you're doing a great job, go ahead and do it. So she does it, and at the end she's like, okay, I'll do it. Because before she's like, I'm not happy about it, I'll do it. And now she's like, yeah, I'm happy about it, I'm fucking badass. So, yes, I definitely recommend this. All the characters are amazing. There's a scene where another character is kind of creepy with a comatose body, but there's no rape, but it's pushing it. There is possession. There are demons in here, so people do get possessed. But even the demons as characters are just, sorry, I have an eyelash, really amazing. Yes, read this. Read it. I love it. I have to find the novellas that she wrote in that world that Amrita and Rosie have talked about. Next, I read The Life of Elizabeth I. I did not take out any notes on this because it seems silly to. You can Google her. This is by Alison Weir. Now, when I started it, where is it? This is technically, I've read The Six Wives of Henry VIII, and there's a sequel, sort of, The Children of Henry VIII, and this is like the third part of that, so I should, because the Children also talks about Edward and Mary. But this just talks about Elizabeth from coronation to, or even pre-coronation, to death. No, it is just coronation. Okay. And it's a lot of politics, obviously. It's a lot of Elizabeth fucking with people. She's like, oh yeah, I'll marry so-and-so. Oh no, I've changed my mind. And all of her advisors are like, we're just gonna die. So she had a lot of fun, I think, as queen. It talks about Robert Dudley and the suspicious death of his wife. It talks about his stepson who attempts to, he says his stepson, Earl of Essex, is like, I didn't want to overthrow Elizabeth. I just wanted to get rid of those nasty advisors that are turning her against me. And he was more popular than his stepfather, so he's like running through the street. They're trying to kill me. And everybody's like, who cares? No, don't fuck with the queen. It talks about Mary of Scots and her multiple attempts to overthrow Elizabeth. And it also talks about how the Catholics keeps coming in. I was going to say sneaking, but sometimes they sneak. And they're like, ooh, Catholic uprising. But even the Catholics in England were like, not all of them, but most of them were like, no, she's fine. What the fuck? So everybody was like, oh, she's a woman. They'll overthrow her. And they're like, no, she's great. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. It also talked about some things I didn't know about, like the Earl of Essex uprising. There apparently Dudley may have had a wife before Lettice Knollys, I think is how you say her name. So that was interesting. I talked about Walter Raleigh, Francis Drake. I think, all of her advisors got in there. And, she really was her father's daughter. She had his temperament. She could fly off the handle. And I thought it was funny. I think I talked about this in my review of The Wives of Henry VIII. Henry was really fond of his calves for some reason. And then when he got sick, like his calves got ulcers and stuff. She got something wrong with one of her calves. An ulcer or a varicose thing. And I'm like, is that genetic? Because she did not indulge like her father did with food. She hunted. She was stood up for hours. And, she ate really conservatively because she liked to penny pinch. Because when she got the kingdom, it was in turmoil. So I just found that interesting. She also reminded me of Henry the Second, not first. well, also maybe first, I don't remember. Henry II, who had a terrible temper. Obviously, he got Thomas à Becket murdered, and then he'd be really forgiving. So that just seems to be a thing running down. A lot of people tried to court her, even though she was Protestant and they were all Catholic. I mean, she dodged a bullet there a couple of times with the Habsburgs. So, yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I don't think there are any trigger warnings other than historical stuff. There are a couple beheadings, which she agonizes about because she doesn't really want to do it. And I think that's it. Yeah. But it was a good book. If you like Elizabeth I, pick it up. And anything by Alison Weir, I think is great. And finally, I read Book 4 in The Expanse, Cibola Burn by James S.A. Corey. This is a continuation of what happened in Book 3. And it has, I figured out at Book 4, the setup is that there's a prologue, right? And like maybe a chapter 1 where stuff happens. Holden and his crew somehow get involved, either willingly or unwillingly. Bigger shit happens for the majority of the book, and then it's vaguely fixed at the end. But because of what happens in Book 1, I can't actually tell you details of Book 4, because it's a big spoiler. But even in Book 4, I am not sure that the overarching threat is quite taken care of. They're on a planet, I can tell you that much, and there is an asshole who declares martial law because of other things that have happened. People are claiming squatters' rights, and then this other place comes in like, no, we own it. Like, bitch, you can't own a fucking planet that nobody has ever been. They didn't even like send probes to find out what was on the planets. People just went there. So a lot of shit happens on this planet. There is murder. There is politics, but not as bad actually as the other 3 books, because it's more martial law and Holden trying to make sure things don't get any worse. What else? There are buggy things, which they go with the first book. I can't really explain that to you. But if you don't really like bugs, big bugs that move around, you might want to skip a couple pages. But by now you've probably read the other 3, hopefully. Don't start with Book 4, because you'll be confused as fuck. The characters are all great. You really hate the guy that declares martial law. You're like, fuck, I hope he gets what's coming to him. And, yeah, I enjoyed the book. I can't wait to continue the series. I can't wait to see this on TV, because I know they made this series, this book, I mean, into a season of the series. So that's gonna be so much fun. Oh my gosh. Okay. And that's all the books I read. That's pretty good for me. Yeah, the reading year's kind of been up and down, obviously. But I'm proud that I read that many books in December. So, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. And I hope you all have a happy new year. And I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.